Active service members, veterans, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Stories of Service, an evening with veterans.
Now, to keep it moving, we also have Lieutenant Colonel Walter G.S. Cummings, who earned a Bronze Star, a NATO Medal, the Order of St. Michael, and other decorations as a medevac pilot performing rescues from Korea to Hurricane Katrina to Iraq. He is currently a professor of military science for the Wolverine Battalion at the University of Michigan. Please welcome Colonel Cummings.
Good evening. So when the Fisher House team asked me to share my story, I was a little confused. You see, my name is Lieutenant Colonel Walter G.S. Cummings, and I really don't have a story to tell. My grandfather, the original Walter Cummings, who served proudly in World War II, he had a story. But I'm not qualified to tell his story. I've flown hundreds of medevac missions. I've evacuated hundreds of men, women, and children, probably having the worst days of their lives. But those missions are their stories and not mine. See, for me, I told my dad I wanted to be a ninja. All right? But, I was kind of chubby and a little uncoordinated, so that wasn't meant to be. But I watched my mom. She was a proud member of the WAC, that's the Women's Army Corps. So I watched her raise a family and serve her country, and that kind of planted a seed in me. So for me, following her example meant growing out of an unremarkable town in Texas, marrying my high school sweetheart, and going to college as a National Guardsman and ROTC cadet. I was on campus one fall. All the student groups they had tables out there trying to recruit teams to come in to be a part of their organization. I really wasn't excited about any of them. I was there for free swag and some pins. But I heard this noise overhead, and I'm gonna use my hand now because I'm a pilot. There's 2 helicopters flying over the quad, right? So these Apaches land, the pilots get out of their helicopters, they take off their helmets, put on their sunshades, and they have this swagger as they're walking from the helicopter. And I said, wow, maybe I can do that. So I grabbed some more swag, picked up some pins, and I headed to the ROTC table to get signed up. What I didn't know was how long it would actually take me to get into flight school. When I was commissioned as a second lieutenant, I was branched Medical Service Corps. And I got the chance to serve at Fort Hood as my first duty assignment. Now, I'm from Texas, and I know this. Fort Hood is called the Great Place, right? And it has to be true because that's what the gate guards tell you every time you come onto the post. While I was there at Fort Hood, I got deployed to Bosnia for a peacekeeping mission. And that's when I found out my third application to become a medevac pilot was actually accepted, and I was finally going to get a slot into flight school. Finally, with orders in hand, I went to Fort Rucker, became a rated Black Hawk pilot. So again, I'm a Medical Service Corps officer. My primary mission is medevac, but from time to time, in my role as a battalion XO for the General Support Aviation Battalion, I've flown a few other missions. But this medevac mission would take me from Fort Rucker, Alabama, to Pyeongtaek, Korea, and then back to Fort Rucker to fly crash and rescue. One of those missions included a flight crew that had a bird strike. A huge buzzard came through the windscreen of the aircraft, knocked the instructor pilot unconscious, broke his jaw. So now this flight student, who's still in training, covered in blood and feathers, is supposed to land this helicopter. To his credit, he was able to land the helicopter, My crew showed up on the scene. Our medics went through the blood and the feathers, got everybody taken care of, and then we spent quite a bit of time getting feathers out of places we didn't realize they could get into.